You know, there aren't many teams that have a better set of receivers than the Vikings have.
Ray Scott was saying he wouldn't trade the Viking receivers for anybody.
I'd take Pittsburgh's.
You know, he likes LeCount.
Yeah, they
got with San Francisco. Yeah. Okay. Okay, babe.
Right. Okay, Tony.
They're singing the anthem. Yeah. Okay, home of the brave.
From Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, CBS Sports presents the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with George Allen. George, it looks like we should have a wild one.
Yes, it is, Vin. We should see an Eagle attack with Montgomery carrying the ball, Jaworski throwing. It's a balanced attack against Kramer. Kramer doesn't have much of a running game because of a banged-up offensive line, but we should see a wide-open football game.
Let's take a look at the two young quarterbacks who had big days last Sunday. First of all, here is Jaworski having a personal high, 3 touchdowns against a very stubborn Denver ball club. And watch this pass as he hits his favorite man, Harold Carmichael, catching at least one pass now in 113 consecutive games, this one for the distance and a TD. So there was a lot of singing in Philadelphia, and there was a lot of joy in Bloomington. Here's Tommy Kramer, 395 yards he passed for, including 3 touchdowns, looking for Sammy White, and he finds him all alone for a touchdown. That's more or less what we figured to see today. Ron Jaworski throwing bombs to Carmichael, and Tommy Kramer looking for Rashad and White. Any other thoughts about the ballgame?
I think the big thing will be, can the Eagles rush Kramer with 3 men? If they can't rush him, he'll have a big day. I think the Eagles' defense is a little bit stronger and better than last week's defense that they faced.
Atlanta, of course, with a 3-man rush, and they couldn't put on enough heat, and so they paid for it. And as you point out, we'll see about the Eagles, who have Bill Bergey, among others, returning this year, and they look to be a vastly improved team from a club that got into the playoffs last year.
And Ronell Young should be tested on the corner.
Well, with all of that in mind, let's go down to the field and find out, can the Eagles finally beat Minnesota? They've lost 7 straight to them as recently as 1978.
For the Minnesota Vikings, they have won the toss. They have elected to receive with Matt Blair, Tommy Kramer, and Ron Yeri. They were the captains. And for the Eagles, coming in here a mile high because they have yet to beat Minnesota in their 7 meetings. 2 years ago they met here in Minnesota, and it was a bitter 28-27 defeat for the Eagles. So they come back against the Purple, and with the Eagles, they will have the wind at their backs. That means Tommy Kramer will be passing into the wind, and Gregman will have to punt, if necessary, into the wind. So the stage is shed. It should be a dandy. There's Ahmad Rashad. What a day he had last Sunday. 11 catches, George. He just ran at will.
It'll be interesting to see how the Eagles try to defense him. If they play off the line, give him 7-8 yards, he'll have a big game. You have to play him tight.
In seeing Tony Franklin barefoot, it reminds us to give you the weather. It is 57 degrees. That's right, 5-7 in Minnesota. So evidently summer was on a Thursday here, and immediately the fall has moved in. Eddie Payton will be the deep man for Minnesota. He's the older brother of Walter Payton, number 31. Up in front of him on the left will be Robert Miller on one side and Doug Pascoe on the other. And the barefoot boot will be fielded by Eddie Payton. On the 1-2, he juggles it, and there'll be no return. So the Vikings will put it in play, 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Let's take a look now at the Vikes and see how they will set up. Tommy Kramer at the wheel, his running backs, Ricky Young and Ted Brown. the fellas who figure to handle the ball, Ahmad Rashad, number 28. The tight end is Bob Tucker, and the other wide receiver is Sammy White. Riley, Huff, Swilly, Hamilton, and Huffman are up front. So 1st and 10 Vikings on their own 20-yard line. Stu Boyd, a tight end on the right side as they go slot left, and there goes Ricky Young in motion to the right. Backs finally releasing. They set up a little screen for Ted Brown. He cuts at the 25 and is dropped at about the 26-yard line, tackled by Frank LeMaster. Let's take a look at the Eagle defense. A 3-man rush with Claude Humphrey playing in place of Dennis Harrison, who had a kidney injury. Then you have Charlie Johnson and Carl Hairston. Very good linebackers, Bunting, Berge, LeMaster, and Robinson. Certainly the strength of the Eagles. And the secondary for Philadelphia, Edwards, Wilson, and Logan, you might know. Roynell Young is a rookie at left cornerback, and we'll see if they try to exploit him. 2nd and 4 on the 26 for Tommy Kramer.
I'll take this one.
And it's Ted Brown again, fighting to about the 30 with a flag on the play.
Ted Brown is the first back in quite some time that gives the Vikings outside speed. He can sweep the flanks. Here he is running up the middle. On that last play, Roynell Young, number 43 of the Eagles, was playing off the line about 8-9 yards. We might watch for Kramer trying to exploit that rookie over there like he did last week, Vin.
Last week, it was Dennis Johnson who took all the heat. In fact, 11 of Rashad's catches were against the rookie cornerback.
Holding. Still 2nd down.
So there was holding against Minnesota. Whoever it was will not find out. Be back on the 16-yard line.
I thought Kramer opened the game with a smart play, a screen pass, cut the rush down right away.
So 2nd down, 14 to go from the 16-yard line. Kramer on a deep drop, throwing to Rashad, and Rashad is ridden out of bounds. LeMaster and Wilson were there. Frank LeMaster went back, and Bernard Wilson finally knocked him out.
Well, Kramer's had the protection, the time to throw. If he has the time to throw, he'll give the Eagles problems. Now, he threaded the needle there. Rashad ran a short corner from the slot.
So there's Bernard Wilson playing on a sprained foot who drove him out of bounds. So it's 1st and 10 for Tommy Kramer. The ball nestling on the 34-yard line of the Vikes. They send Sammy White wide right, and Rashad goes left. Kramer on a roll, and he's going to go for a bomb, and all alone is Sammy White, and finally Roynell Young brings him down, but they're going after the rookie.
Well, he ran an out and up. Play action. Here it is, play action. Good protection. Plenty of time, out and up. The ball hung a little bit. If the ball doesn't hang, he might score.
And Young is going to knock him out at the 25 where they spot the ball. May, in fact, make it now down to the 21.
We talked about this is a big test. How are the Eagles going to defense the man that Roynell Young is covering? He's got to have help deep. He's got to play him a little tighter short.
Roynell Young, number 43, a first-round draft choice out of Alcorn State, but they have burned him now. In motion goes Ricky Young, 1st and 10. And Kramer faking to Young and going deep in the end zone. No good, intended for Sensor, the tight end. And by the way, that's an interesting story. Joe Sensor was raised in an orphanage near Philadelphia.
Yes.
He went to Westchester State, and as he was saying before the ball game, it's almost like playing against my hometown.
Yes, and then the Vikings send all their plays in. Bud Grant sends the plays in with 3 tight ends. Here they're coming in, Tucker, Voigt, and Sensor. Now, both teams are on the same side of the field, so that takes some time when you get down to the other end.
Sammy White comes out. Terry LeCount is now in there. He's number 80, and he goes wide left, and Rashad is wide right. Kramer's slipping, and he's going to be dragged down as he dumps the ball off. But he was hit as he slipped. Claude Humphrey got him and brought him down.
Well, the field is soft, and the infield is very soft. On the last play, Young was playing off the ball about 9 yards.
Sammy White comes back into the ball game, and they keep shuttling tight ends, Joe Sensor, and then it's Tucker and Voigt. So is there anything wrong about shuttling? Does it consume a lot of time, George?
Well, it does then if you don't get the play in right away, and especially with both teams on the same side, when your offense is down at the other end, it could force you to take a timeout or get a penalty.
Tight end is in the backfield, and the Eagles were moving. Claude Humphrey claims he was drawn off, and let's see. So does Charlie Johnson. Both men claiming that the Vikings drew them off.
It is.
And we'll wait for the official interpretation. It was a 3rd and 12. Well, there goes Charlie Johnson, but I didn't see a Vike move to make him move. So we'll see. So in the early going, the Vikings started on their own 20, a key pass to Sammy White down to the Eagle 21-yard line.
As far as the Eagles are concerned, it's going to be pass rush.
False start. Number 61 on the offense. Still 3rd down.
So they will put the blame on Wes Hamilton of the Minnesota Vikings. That makes it 3rd and 17. The ball on the 27, and we can duck in the fact that New England has jumped out to a 7-0 lead over Atlanta. So 3rd and 17 from the 27. It's Terry LeCount in the slot left inside Sammy White. Rashad goes wide right. Sensor stayed in the backfield at tight end. And they go down to the left side to Rashad, who was knocked out of bounds just shy of the 15-yard line.
Then they're doing what we predicted at the top of the show. They're working on the left corner.
No possession, George.
Right, he was juggling the ball, I believe. Boy, Kramer can really throw that football. Let's watch this, see if he was juggling the ball.
Well, he has his back to us, but apparently he saw it slip out just as he was going OB. So it'll be 4th and 17 from the 27-yard line. Rick Danmeyer won the ball game last week. In the last 25 seconds, he kicked a 27-yard field goal to beat Atlanta. And now on a 4th and 17, he will be asked to kick one 37-yard.
Let's watch the center snap. Last week, the holder, Dills, got the game ball for fielding 2 low snaps.
Perfect snap, perfect hold, and the kick is no good. So Danmeyer misses from 37. Early in the first quarter, the Eagles have stiffened. Kramer has come up empty, and it's the Vikings and the Eagles, no score. So the Eagles stiffen on defense. Danmeyer misses a 37-yard field goal attempt, and now it's Jaworski and company. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 27-yard line, out of the eye. Wilbert Montgomery is the deep back, and now he splits alongside Leroy Harris. And they go slot left. Carmichael is in a slot inside Charlie Smith. Wilbert Montgomery on his first play of the day, and he's out to about the 34-yard line, and the Vikings bring him down. Turner, McNeil, Knopf, and Hannon were all up in there, so the Vikings were trying to smother him with purple.
Well, the Eagles are a multiple set team just like the Vikings. They ran an off-tackle play with their good back carrying the ball, Montgomery, and Harris blocking. Now, the Eagles have a fine running game. Jaworski does not have to live by the pass. He can use his passes sparingly, go play action. The Vikings have to stop the Eagles' running game first.
2nd down and 2 for Jaworski, and they go slot right. And this time Charlie Smith comes out of the slot and goes motion left. Play, and they hand it to Leroy Harris, who bumps heads with Scott Studwell. And it's a question of where they spot the ball and where they figure his forward progress is concerned, but it would appear as if he made the first down. Leroy Harris, who has a sprained knee, who is a doubtful starter, but he's in there. So it'll be a first down for the Eagles. They spot the ball on the Eagle 38. Jaworski had 3 touchdowns passing last week, and the Eagles were full of admiration for the fact that he had matured. Here comes Montgomery, and he's across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. He was tripped up by Duck White, number 72. Jim White, of course, a veteran for many years. This is 5 years experience with Minnesota.
Then the Eagles' offensive line works very well together. They're experienced. They're well disciplined. They've got a lot of character people on the entire football team, but I like that Eagle offensive line. They come off of the ball, they stay with their blocks. That's why they're running this football so well.
2nd and 6 on the Eagle 42. Carmichael goes wide right. Smith is left. Harris and Montgomery the running back. Jaworski gets a good block in the backfield, and now he hits big John Spagnola, who has dropped across the 45. Now finally brought him down, but good protection for Ron Jaworski. He was getting heat from the left side. Matt Blair along with Scott Studwell, and there's the key block to cut Studwell down.
Good protection.
And the pass completed.
And Jaworski takes what the defense gives him. He reads the coverage and takes what the defense gives him. And that's what happened on that last play.
1st and 10 on the Minnesota 45-yard line. Charlie Smith wide left with Carmichael in a slot. Jaworski play action fake to Montgomery, then he's going to dump it off to Leroy Harris for a first down. Knopf drags him down at the 30-yard line, and the Eagles are on the move.
Well, by having a good running game, that set up that last play. Here he's faking the run, fakes to the fullback, fakes to the halfback. Nobody covers the fullback. Harris wide open. Nice execution, good call.
15 yards on that pickup to the Viking 30. Remember, the drive started on the Eagle 27. 9:46 left in the first quarter. Slot left, Spagnola, the tight end on the right side, and they pitch back to Montgomery with Harris blocking, and he is across the 25 is Montgomery and slides out at about the 23. Mullaney finally brought him down. Pretty good block by Harris on John Turner.
Well, Jaworski's mixing his calls real well, runs and passes. That time he went on sound, he went on a quick count, picked up 7 yards.
It'll be 2nd and 3 on the Viking 23-yard line. And Jaworski, of course, having Montgomery as a running back, that just puts a lot of fear as far as the Minnesota defense is concerned. Now Montgomery comes up on a wing, and now comes back, and it's Harris, and boy, they move around a lot in the backfield. Wilbert Montgomery following Harris, and he's inside the 20 down to about the 18. George, all that shit around by Montgomery and Harris, does it work?
Well, it's supposed to force the defense to call audibles and give them less time to recognize the final set. It never bothered us too much, Vin, because we'd let them shift, and when they got into their final formation, then we call our defense.
Who's us, George?
Well, the Redskins.
1st and 10 on the Viking 18-yard line. And Carmichael wide left, Charlie Smith wide right. On a draw to Montgomery, and Montgomery to the 15, a good tackle. Coming up to hit him was Tommy Hannon at the 15, and he dropped to the 14-yard line.
Yeah, this is a good call. He's been running, he's been passing. Now he runs a draw to Montgomery, his best back. A real fine tackle by Hannon. By the way, Hannon is usually a strong safety. They're playing left and right, what we call less and rush. They don't shift with a tight end.
Vikings losing a great cornerback in Willie Teal, who just had cartilage operation, and he's out for the year. Nate Wright is back in there now to give a little extra wisdom. Carmichael wide left and Charlie Smith in motion that way. Leroy Harris driving to the 10-yard line.
Leroy Harris is in better shape this year. He came to training camp. He lost 10, 15 pounds, and he's a good running back.
He sure is. He holds the Eagle record for the longest run in history. He went 80 yards against Green Bay, but no touchdown. He was originally drafted by Miami and traded to the Eagles. They will give up a 1981 draft choice. Out of Arkansas State, number 20, Leroy Harris doesn't get too much publicity, of course, playing alongside Wilbert Montgomery. So it's a 3rd and 2. The ball is on the Viking 10-yard line. Harris all alone now behind Jaworski, and the Vikes were asking the crowd to be quiet. Jaworski hitting Spagnola, the tight end, and he's got himself the first down.
This is a good call. Play action. The tight end runs a straight. He got a big target. The Eagles picked up Spagnola as a free agent from New England, and he's done a heck of a job for him.
Especially with Keith Krefley out with a shoulder injury, Spagnola has been carrying a big load and doing exceptionally well. So they will spot the ball on the 7. It is 1st and goal on the Vikings 7-yard line. Carmichael started to go on the left side, now realizes he's supposed to go wide right. And Wilbert Montgomery trying to go wide, cuts inside the 5 and is upended at about the 3-yard line. And if Tommy Hannon didn't hit him at the 3, he was gone for a touchdown.
But it looked like the Eagles were blitzing on that play. They blitzed from the backside.
By the way, George, Wilbert Montgomery now carrying for 32 yards. And that means he has gone over the 3,000 career yards in rushing. He only needed 14, so he has busted the sound barrier. That's Charlie Smith, number 85, coming to the pitch for the moment. And Keith Krefley, the other tight end, is in there now with John Spagnola. So 2nd and goal from the 2, and they give it to Leroy Harris, and he is in the end zone. Harris a touchdown.
Well, that was a machine-like drive. Runs, passes, draws. They went 73 yards in just 12 plays. Very disciplined offense. Varied the starting count.
The big play, when you think about it, was Sammy White unable to hold on to the pass from Tommy Kramer. Remember, he juggled and dropped it. Then
Yes,
they tried a 37-yard field goal and missed it. And then the Eagles just marched for 73 and a touchdown. And now it'll be Tony Franklin, who is 2 for 2 in field goals this year. He was 2nd last year to Mark Mosley in the NFC. And the Barefoot boy thumps it. So it is 7-0 Philadelphia. We'll take another look now. Jaworski handing it to Leroy Harris. That's Woody Peoples, number 69, bumping heads for him, and then Harris does the rest of it himself. So Leroy Harris gets the Eagles on the scoreboard. They lead 7-0.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that Light's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, Light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this. For
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
Leroy Harris punched it over from 2 yards out. The Eagles lead 7-0. They win 73 yards in 12 plays. And look at the time, almost 8 minutes. So they have really taken a big chunk out of the first quarter. And to complicate matters, the Vikings were penalized on the point after. So the kick starts at the 40-yard line, and Eddie Payton says thank you, but no thank you. I'll keep it right here. And for Bud Grant, of course, that 5-yard penalty following the point meant no chance of a return as Tony Franklin kicked it into the end zone.
Tony Franklin's developed into one of the better kickers in the league.
That means 2 kickoffs and no returns for little Eddie Payton.
Exactly. Now, the interesting thing to me here is how are the Vikings going to attack the rookie, Ronell Young, over there? How are the Eagles going to defense Rashad?
Well, we'll take a look at it right now. Roynell Young, 43, is the marked man. He's on the left side or on Kramer's right. Rashad goes wide left. White is right. In motion is Stu Voigt. That moved Randy Logan, and here they go. A little screen to Sammy White. Looking for some purple, but all he gets is green and white.
Well, he slipped. They used motion. Look how deep he's playing.
That's Roynell Young slipping.
And also, the receiver slipped. Good pursuit over there.
We should mention that it's rained here the last couple of days.
Berge, the whole team.
So it is 2nd and 10 on the 20 line. The Eagles leading the Vikings 7-0. 4:27 left in the quarter, and the Vikes go slot left. Sammy White inside Rashad, and it's Ted Brown and rookie Young behind Kramer. Pitch back to Ted Brown. He has Young and Huffman blocking, and he spins out across the 25 to the 27. And it's kind of nice to put a spotlight on Dave Huffman, number 56. He's a center at Notre Dame, and they're trying to make a tackle out of him, and he threw a good block to spring his ball carrier.
Yes, yeah, with Ranieri out, he's a very valuable man right now. The Vikings are hurting a little bit of tackle due to injuries.
If the Vikings get Yari healthy, Myers healthy, they figure to be a lot tougher. Riley, number 78, is playing on a bad ankle. All right, it's 3rd and 3 from the Viking 27. Both backs release, a fake by Kramer, and he got away at the last minute from Humphrey. Dumps it off to Rashad for the first down, and guess who was there to be burned? Roynell Young.
Well, that's going to be the pattern. As long as 43 Young is off of the ball, they're going to go over there for 4 or 5 yards. He wanted to hit him a little bit quicker, but there was a defensive lineman was in his way, and he had to roll out around him.
They figured out last week that Rashad caught 11 against a rookie. If they keep playing rookies against him, he's going to catch 176 passes this year. So that moves it out to the 37, 1st and 10 on the Vike 37, and Tommy Kramer looking, of course, for Rashad whenever in doubt. Here goes Ted Brown trying to follow Huff, and he slips and falls down. Bill Berge was right there, but it is very hard to cut on a somewhat soggy field.
Well, he also fell because it wasn't under control. It wasn't just a soft field. Again, as Kramer came out of the huddle, his head went right over to the left corner. Now, Roynell Young is a fine athlete, a good first-round pick. He's going to be a fine football player. All he needs is experience.
Well, he's going to get it today. As you saw, the Jets leading 3-0. 2nd and 14. The ball on the Viking 33-yard line. Kramer getting heat, tosses it high and wobbly, and it's caught by Joe Sensor, the tight end, and he got it at about the 42, taking it away from John Bunting, the linebacker.
Boy, this was a dangerous pass. He threw this with a partial rollout, and he throws it falling away off balance. Watch the ball float out there.
Sensor made a big touchdown reception with 3 men on him against Atlanta, and he took that away from Bunting. So he's quite a kid, 6'4".
Yes, sir.
He had back injuries last year, and he is really starting to play.
He has good hands, was a basketball player, and he can go up and get the ball.
3rd and 5 on the Viking 42. It is 7-0 in favor of the Eagles, so Tommy Kramer now on a move out of the shotgun. Sensor is in the backfield with him and now releases. And Kramer zips it, no good. Now, I'm not sure. I think it was for Terry LeCount, number 80, but he didn't cut where Kramer expected him to.
Well, Kramer was rushed a little bit and had to throw the ball before this receiver was open. Here it is. This is from the shotgun. Roynell Young jammed Rashad, and that helped.
So Greg Coleman now will have to punt the ball, standing on his own 30-yard line. Remember, he's kicking into the wind coming out of the north. And he gets it away, somewhat end over end. John Shara following the ball, but it goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line, and that's where the Eagle will put in play. Here's Greg Coleman out of Florida A&M. He was second to Bob Parsons of Chicago last year. He kicked 23 inside the 20. First time the Eagles had the ball, they went 73 yards for a touchdown. Leroy Harris scoring from 2 yards out. Now let's see what they do on their own 28 as the Vikings offense takes a little breather and goes over a few plays. Jaworski to Montgomery, following Walter's block, and there he goes. He's chased by John Turner, and Turner is not going to get him. It's Wilbert Montgomery for 72 yards and a touchdown.
Great execution on sound. That was a tremendous call on sound. He came out, put his hands, here it is, under the center. The ball snapped. It's a quick toss to the left. Good blocking by
Stan Walters.
Stan Walters, 75. Now he cuts back against the grain. This guy has speed. He turns it on all the way. That's the big play. Avoids the last possible tackler.
So Wilbert Montgomery goes 72 yards for a touchdown with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in the quarter. Tony Franklin and that bare right foot trying to make it 14-0 Eagles, and he has done just that.
Ben, that's the advantage of having that good, sound, tough, hard-nosed running game.
There's Wilbert Montgomery, one of the great running backs. He led the NFL last year in total yardage, total production, as they call it. He's produced again today.
Where can you find someone to service all the parts of your car with the know-how and equipment to check wheels, brakes, engine, suspension, almost everything? Someone who'll give you a written estimate and fix only what you want fixed. Firestone Car Service. That's where. 24,000 Firestone Car Service bays are waiting to serve you. For this week's specials, check your newspaper.
What was Harold Carmichael doing during Montgomery's 72-yard touchdown run? He was banging heads with Tommy Hannon, the safety, who was on him at the line of scrimmage.
Well, the big thing on that was he's on the off side of the formation, and he stayed with a tackler, possible tackler. It shows the attitude of Harold Carmichael.
Though it is 14-0 Eagles, who have never beaten Minnesota. And Tony Franklin kicking from the 35, and again almost kicked it out of the ballpark. And Eddie Payton is the most frustrated man in Minnesota besides Bud Grant. They won't let him run a kickoff. Boy, does that kid thump him. Tony Franklin. Franklin was the first kicker on a full scholarship at Texas A&M. And you might remember in college, he kicked 2 field goals against Baylor, one of 64 yards and another of 65 yards. So he kicks him out of sight.
And the Eagles drafted him, I believe, in the 3rd round. He should have been a first round pick.
That's right,
with
3rd round, 79.
That type of ability.
Well, the Vikings either do something or they're threatened with being blown out of the ballpark. It's 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. In motion is Sammy White. Ted Brown with Ricky Young blocking on Jerry Robinson, but he couldn't get there because Hairston wrapped him up before the block.
And he also slipped as he tried to cut.
There's Tony Franklin cleaning off that bare right foot. How in the world anybody ever learned to kick a football barefooted, I don't know, but he has sure done it. He kicked a 59-yard field goal against Dallas last year. 3 times he kicked them 50 or more. So he makes that thing sing, and he'll keep that foot warm with a sock. A loss of 1 at 2nd and 11 from the 19 for the Vikes. Kramer gonna put it up. Intended for Ahmad Rashad, triple coverage. There was LeMaster, Edwards, and Wilson all there, and a flag on the play. The Vikings had 1 drive starting on their own 20 that got down to the Eagle 21, sputtered, tried a field goal, and missed from 37 yards. So Tommy Kramer thoroughly frustrated.
Then sometimes when you score early and score twice in a row, it's a disadvantage. There's a tendency to let down.
Number 43 on the defense. 1st down.
Well,
So defensive holding, an automatic 1st down, and it was on the young man, Roynell Young. And whatever you do, please don't misunderstand. We are not trying to pick on Roynell Young. He is just very much a very important part of this game as the Vikings try to exploit him. 1st and 10 on the Viking 24. Kramer throwing it over the head of Ahmad Rashad.
the reason that call was on Roynell Young, 43, is they rolled up over there, and he jammed the receiver, stayed with him a little too long. That was the reason for the penalty on the previous play.
It's hard to believe, but of course, as Stu Voigt comes out, we drop an annoyed about the Eagles. With Wilbert Montgomery, 72 yards, he has now gone over 100 for the 15th time in his career. He had 7 over 100 yards last year. 2nd and 10 from the 24. Kramer has his man, Sammy White. Roynell Young makes the tackle at the 40-yard line. So the Vikings might as well take an ad in the paper. We want you.
Yeah, well, this is, again, Sammy White now working on 43, Roynell Young. He drove him off and came back ran a stop pattern. It's a good first down call. Get the first down. Very difficult to stop that play unless you jam the receiver and throw him off course.
So Kramer now has passed for 106 yards, although he is still empty. It is 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line of Minnesota as they go slot left. Second man, Ricky Young, and he runs into, among others, Charlie Johnson, number 65. Johnson brings him down. We have 30 seconds, 29 seconds left in the first quarter. 14-0 Philadelphia.
This is a big series for the Vikings, Vin. They're behind 14-0. They got to get a drive going and put some points on the board.
There's Tommy Kramer, and of course, the 7th son of a 7th son. He was the youngest of 11 children, so he's got to be accustomed to scrambling, George.
He's a good athlete, has a strong arm, and should develop into a fine quarterback.
And that's the end of the first quarter here in Bloomington with the score. The Philadelphia Eagles 14 and the Minnesota Vikings nothing.
The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by the American Motors, Concord, Spirit, and Eagle, built to last from American Motors.
Vin Scully along with George Allen at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. It's been all Eagles so far. The lead 14-0 as we start at the second quarter, and the Eagles still plotting for more. But right now, it's the Minnesota Vikings trying to mousetrap Dick Vermeil. 2nd and 6 on the Viking 45. In motion is Ricky Young. Kramer faking left, handing off to Brown. He has Huffman blocking on Jerry Robinson, and he might have a first down. In fact, he hit Bill Berge, and I think that block on Berge made it.
Good call. It's a pass rush counter, gadget type of play. The Vikings' strength is their passing game, and all its complements: screens, draws, pass rush counters.
So it is 1st and 10 on the Eagle 48, and of course that key block on Bill Berge just did get him out of the way. It was almost a clip as Berge started to try to turn on the play. 1st and 10 for Tommy Kramer, who is 7 for 11 and 106 yards. Kramer set up and going down the left side, broken up, intended for Ahmad Rashad, and sticking a finger in the pie. On the right side was the veteran Herman Edwards.
Herman Edwards is a smart football player, another free agent. Now watch him come in with his right arm and reach across and knock that ball down. If he goes any other way, it might be interference.
Edwards has had 16 interceptions in 3 years. That's Randy Logan coming to the sidelines for the Eagles. It'll be 2nd and 10. The Vikings trying to keep a drive alive on the Eagle 48-yard line. White is right, Rashad left, fumble, still loose ball, still loose, recovered by Ted Brown of the Minnesota Vikings.
And you know why that fumble was caused? Now watch. He never had the ball, went on a quick count. The center, looked like the center snapped it before he was quite ready. The Eagles were using their nickel defense, and they had 4 down linemen rather than the usual 3.
Alertly, Ted Brown, the running back, was there to fall on it. So Ted comes to the sidelines. He had knee surgery last year. So it's 3rd and 10 on the Eagle 48. Sensor, the tight end, is in the backfield now with Ricky Young, and Sensor stays in to pick up and block. Kramer down the middle, no good. Broken up by Roynell Young as he broke up the play to Ahmad Rashad.
A heck of a play by Roynell Young. Now watch him. They got Rashad working on him, one-on-one. He doesn't drive him off. He comes back in, gets the left hand and knocks the ball down. Big play.
Big play indeed for a boy we have had the spotlight on because of the fact the Vikings have been trying to avoid him, and they have done fairly well, but now he's starting to answer back. So Greg Coleman will be punting 4th and 10, standing on the Viking 40. John Shara back on the Eagle 5-yard line, and he will just let it kick into the end zone. where the Eagles will put it in play. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. So we have 13 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second quarter, and the Vikings are trying to find a solution. It's all Eagles, 14-0. The Eagles leading the Vikings 14-0, 13:50 left in the second quarter. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 20-yard line. Trefley, the tight end, on the right side, and Carmichael is wide left. Second man, and that's Wilbert Montgomery, tripped up on a hand tackle by Mullaney, who just did get his ankle. Montgomery, under a full head of speed, however, kept going for a few more.
The nice thing Jaworski has here, he's got a 14-point lead. He can do anything he wants. He's in his own territory. He can hammer it out and run the football until he gets better position to throw it. He doesn't have to rely on the pass to get out of the hole.
Ken Sanders and Doug Sutherland up front now for the Vikings. Ball on the 22, 2nd and about 8. Jaworski intercepted by John Turner. Carmichael had his back on the play, and Turner's going to be driven out of bounds at the Eagle 35-yard line.
Yeah.
John Turner steals one on Carmichael.
The ball is intended for Carmichael. It doesn't appear as if he's looking for the ball. The ball was a little bit underthrown. He had him open. Nice interception by Turner. Now, we talked about getting 2 quick scores. Tennessee to let down. This puts the Vikings back in the ballgame if they can put some points on the board.
So Ron Jaworski burned by John Turner, who made that big interception. Now we'll see if the Vikings can do anything with it. It's 1st and 10 on the Eagle 35-yard line. Kramer under some heat from Humphrey, and Claude Humphrey brings him down at the 49. A big sack worth 14 yards.
That was a big play. This is what Claude Humphrey does so well, rush the passer. Now Kramer's trying to throw a screen or a check down. The back was held up. 23, Ted Brown was held up and he couldn't get out. That allowed Humphrey to sack him.
Humphrey had 10 sacks last year, and so Tommy Kramer felt his heat. Humphrey at 6'5", 258 really put the slug on him. Ted Brown taking a breather on the sidelines. That puts Joe Sensor, the tight end, back in the backfield. 2nd and 21 on the 46. Kramer out of the shotgun, being charged by Humphrey, but he got away from him. He was tripped up by Hairston, and Bernard Wilson tried to intercept, but it was broken up.
Well, they're getting a rush. They're starting to put the rush on Kramer. He's very fortunate this ball wasn't intercepted. Quite a gamble to try to get rid of it.
But Claude Humphrey couldn't get him, and then Carl Hairston was knocked into him and tripped him. So the bad pass, and it was dropped. Wilson unable to hold on to it. That makes it 3rd and 21. Ball on the Eagle 46-yard line. Rashad left. Robert Miller is in there now with Sensor out of the shotgun. And LeCount is in there with Sammy White. Kramer just did get by Humphrey. No good. It was intended for Terry LeCount, but Claude Humphrey's going to wear him out.
Usually you have a little more time to throw in the shotgun, but Kramer was rushed all 3 plays. Now watch the pressure on him. Shotgun. He's looking downfield, steps up. Claude Humphrey right in, coming in from the side.
So on a 4th and 21, Greg Coleman punting from his own 42-yard line. Standing deep for the Eagles is John Shira on the Eagle 10-yard line. Coleman angling for the sidelines. It's going to bounce at about the 14. Shira will let it go, and it's, look out, there's one of the officials knocked on a charging Viking getting downfield, but he's okay. And the ball will be spotted. There's the official shaken up, but able to smile about it. They'll spot the ball at about the 7-yard line, where the Eagles will put it in play. 12 minutes and 12 seconds to the half. It is 14-0 Philadelphia.
If if you give up your luxury car for the gasoline shortage, are you gonna miss all that plush carpeting? Are you gonna miss those big, comfortably upholstered seats? Are you gonna miss that power steering or those little creature comforts like a digital clock or a coin box? Not if you buy our Honda Accord LX. It's got all those things and more. Why not give up your luxury car for a luxury car?
Honda, we make it simple.
Real tea on ice?
That's nice.
Reuniti on ice?
That's nice.
Philadelphia 14, Minnesota nothing. We have 12 minutes and 12 seconds to the half, and the Eagles stiffened after the interception. They'll take over 1st and 10 on their own 7-yard line. Harris and Montgomery behind Jaworski. In motion is Fitzke. Jaworski to Montgomery. Bumps into Perot, flag on the play, and purple all over Montgomery. Friends, this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. Looking on the sidelines is a first-round draft choice for the Minnesota Vikings, Doug Martin, who just joined the ball club. He has a brother, George, who's a defensive end for the New York Giants.
They've had him on two-a-days, but the best way to get him in shape is activate him and play him a little bit. That's the only way you can get in shape when you report this late and miss training camp.
He joins Mark Mullaney and James White as first-round draft choices for the Vikings, playing up front. Jeff Seaman was a first-round draft choice, and he's been banged up and has lost his job for a while to Scott Studwell now.
Martin's quick.
Holding by number 50 of the offense. It's still first down.
And should be able to rush the passer. He should be a good defensive end.
So the ball moved back, as you see, Atlanta and New England, 14-14 in the second quarter. 1st and 13, the ball is back on the Eagle 4-yard line. In motion is Scott Fitzke. And they give it to Harris, who is bumped and straightened up right at the line of scrimmage and then hammered back. Jeff Seaman, among others, there to hit him, and the first man to hit him was
corner pattern, 42 yards in 8 plays.
Rick Danmeyer's conversion is good, and so Minnesota coming back, getting on the scoreboard and cutting the Eagles' lead in half. It is Philadelphia 14, Minnesota 7, 6:35 to the half. Rick Danmeyer signals he's ready. Deep is Zach Dixon standing on the 3-yard line for the Eagles. And the kick is not too deep as Dixon comes up to take it at the 5, to the 15, and dropped right there. And the first man to hit him was Keith Nord, who dropped him, number 49.
Sometimes, we've already talked about this, then the momentum can change in a hurry. You get 2 quick scores, you hit a couple of home runs. So you don't mean to let down, but there's a tendency to let down. Now the fans and the Vikings defense came on the field sprinting. They feel something. Now it's up to the Eagle offense to turn the momentum around the other way.
1st and 10 for the Eagles on their own 19-yard line. The last time they had the ball, they had it on their own 7-yard line, so they haven't had good field position of late. They give it to Montgomery with Peoples out in front. Grabbed from behind and dropped by Duck White, along with Ken Sanders, Tom Hannon.
Then you mentioned Peoples. What a job that Woody Peoples has done since he came over here from San Francisco. He's a steady football player, doesn't make mistakes, doesn't miss practice, a good team man. He's really done a job.
He spent 2 years in the Army. He also spent 1 year playing semi-pro ball, and with all of that behind him, he still has 12 years of experience in the NFL. Number 69, Woody Peoples of the Eagles. Go to 2nd and 4 on the 25. Play action fake to Montgomery. Jaworski with a lot of time got away at the last minute, but there's a flag on the play, and he wisely is down at the 33-yard line, and we'll see about the flag.
Well,
Talk about sitting down.
Yeah. He had all day to throw. He had so much time to throw. The receiver wasn't open.
Preliminary signal is holding against the Eagles.
Well, with the new rules, they've almost legalized holding. The offense can use their hands so much that you practically legalize holding with the offensive line. They can extend the arms.
So the Eagles, who had it 1st and 10 on their 7 and finally had a punt from the 5.
By the offense, number 75, it's still 2nd down.
So the holding against Stan Walters, and of course he's a 2-time Pro Bowler, but he was caught with his hand in the jar. That'll make it 2nd and 14 from the Eagle 15-yard line. Out of the eye this time. Carmichael is wide right. Jaworski under some heat dumps it off to Montgomery, who falls down at the 10, and now the Vikes make sure he stays down.
Something interesting is taking place here. Since the Vikings have employed the 3-4, they've had quite a bit of success stopping the Eagles' short passing game as well as the running game. Now that play would have gone for good yardage except he slipped. Now this is Len Stiles, who's the special team coach and works with the tight ends. Does a heck of a job for the Eagles coaching. He sends in hand signals.
All right, it is 3rd and 17. The ball on the Eagle 12-yard line. 4:55 to the half. Jaworski on a draw to Leroy Harris. Ran into a crowd, tried to go outside, and there's a crowd of Vikings. And has the defense ever come alive?
Well, just what we said, that the tide has changed. The Vikings are taking over on defense. The Eagles haven't done anything in the last 3 series. And now the Vikings again should have field position to maybe tie this ball game up.
Max Roniger will be kicking into the wind out of the end zone. He was the number 3 man in punting. That's Eddie Payton. Last year, his punts averaged only a 5.9-yard return. But he's in the wind, and Payton hasn't had his hands on the ball yet today. The kickoffs have chased him out of the end zone, and one punt went out of bounds. Roniger gets it away high, but the wind is going to cut it in half. And Payton makes the catch, but he's already 3 yards out of bounds. But at least he touched the ball. He's been dying to do that.
That's the first time today.
And now the Vikings, remember, have had it 1st and 10 on the Eagle 35 and couldn't move. The next time they got the ball, they had it 1st and 10 on the Eagle 42, and Rashad scored a touchdown. And now the Vikings have it 1st and 10 on the Eagle 35. So they are in a golden opportunity to catch Philadelphia with 3:52 to the half. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 35. Rashad comes right. Sammy White goes left. Stu Voigt is the tight end. Young and Ted Brown the running back. Both backs release. Kramer has it go right through the hands of Jerry Robinson.
He's lucky that wasn't intercepted. He was rushed. What the Eagles did the last play, they took the weak side linebacker and put him in a walkaway, which is half the distance to the wide receiver to help Young.
Well, I see where the Rams are leading the league in television appearances. They've been on the air twice. The owner has been on, and now Jack Youngblood will be on at halftime. How do you do? 2nd and 10 on the Eagle 35. Kramer out of a shotgun. And Kramer throwing to Sammy White, who took it away from Herman Edwards, and that should be the 1st down.
And there's a flag. Flag on the play. This is a great catch by White. Now watch this. The ball's thrown a little bit behind him. The defender was right there with him. Good coverage.
So the Vikings 1st and 10 as they move the ball, and there will be a penalty tacked on. Here's the call.
Roughing the passer, number 65 on the defense, first down.
Charlie Johnson trying to put some pressure on Ron Kramer. Not only pressured him, but he roughed him. And it is 1st and 10 on the Eagle 12. So the Vikings, who looked like they were going to be buried, have come back to the Eagle 12 yards away from tying it up. We'll take a look at that roughing the passer.
Here it is. Kramer moves around just enough to avoid the rush. Yes, he was hit late. The ball was delivered. It's a good rule to protect the quarterback.
Ted Brown in motion to the left. Kramer on the 12-yard line, looking to the corner for Tucker. No good. Bernard Wilson down there with Tucker.
Then what this is coming to is what we talked about at the top of the show. Pass protection by the Vikings, pass rush by the Eagles. Pass rush, pass protection. And that's the way I think it's going to be the entire ball game. Right here, what we're seeing now is whether the Eagles can put enough pressure on them and cover, or whether the Vikings can get the time to throw.
Statistically now, the game has changed considerably. Not this game, but the NFL. It is becoming all passing. The running game, like the Buffalo, has slowly but surely disappeared. Go to 2nd and 10 on the 12. And again, the shotgun. Here comes Hairston, but he gets bumped out of the play, and the pass no good. Defended there by Wilkes against Joe Sensor, the tight end.
Well, he was rushed. Let's watch this. The top of the screen, watch Hairston come right in there, made him throw the ball before he wanted it. The best pass defense in the world is rush the quarterback.
So it is 3rd and 10 on the 12-yard line, and Tommy Kramer trying to come up with a solution to get even. Remember, the Vikings have won 7 straight against Philadelphia. They have never lost to the Eagles. 3rd and 10 on the 12. Kramer into the corner, off the hands of Sensor, picked up by Bernard Wilson. He's going to be dragged down by Sammy White at about the Eagle 18-yard line. A big interception by Bernard Wilson, who was playing on a bad foot.
Looks like this ball was thrown a little bit behind and short. Yeah, he tipped it. It was behind Sensor. Alert play by Wilson. By the way, Wilson's an underrated free safety. He's a good football player.
He was also an assistant bank manager in Nashville 2 years ago, so I guess you could really call him a money player.
Very good.
1st and 10 on the Eagle 18. So Jaworski and company, they dodged a bullet. Now let's see if they can eat it up with 3:20 to the half. It'll be Wilbert Montgomery and dragged down by Matt Blair from behind at about the 28-yard line. And boy, what a ball player is Matt Blair.
Oh, he is. He's a, you know, some guys do nothing but make big plays. Then there are other players that won't make a big play maybe their entire career. Matt Blair has always been a big play guy, whether it's defense, special teams.
Give you an idea, Matt Blair last year blocked 5 points and is probably the biggest single big play man for the Vikings since Alan Page.
Tremendous.
So a 9-yard gain by Wilbert Montgomery. That's 2nd and 1 on the Eagle 27. Play action fake to Montgomery. Jaworski going to Carmichael. No good. John Turner was there with him, and Carmichael evidently trapped the ball.
Then I don't think Carmichael's had his catch yet today.
Not yet. Not yet. He's got 113 consecutive games with at least 1 reception. They have thrown the ball to him, and it was intercepted, remember, and then that one was short hop. So it's 3rd and 1 on the 27.
Well, here's where you want to get the first down and change the momentum a little bit here. The offense, the Eagle offense, hasn't done much the last 3 series.
3rd and 1 from the 27. The Eagles had Charlie Smith wide left with Carmichael in a slot. Harrison Montgomery behind Jaworski. And it's Montgomery, and Scott Studwell tried to get him by the head and just missed him. If you look at that again, you'll see 55 sail through the air and just miss him. Watch this.
This is an M. Hunch play. Hit him around the shoulders. You aren't going to bring a good back down that high.
That was a big miss. It gave them the first down. It was a 3rd and 1. If Studwell is able to knock him down, the Eagles would have been forced to punt. Instead of they keep it 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line. Carmichael right and White goes left. Jaworski to Wilbert Montgomery on a screen, and Studwell spins him, and then Turner knocks him down as he gets out to the 32.
You know, Studwell's a very active linebacker, number 55. He's in there in place of Seaman. He's covering from sideline to sideline.
So we're inside the 2-minute warning here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. Overcast and a fallish day, 57 degrees with a wind coming out of the north, which means it is into the faces of Ron Jaworski and the Eagles. The Eagles, however, flying wind or no wind, they're leading 14-7.
This 34 defense with Mullaney, White, and Saunders taking out Holloway has given the Eagles some problems.
2nd and 8 on the Eagle 32. In motion now, Leroy Harris just comes up. Long count by Jaworski. Jaworski down the middle, and a great catch by Charlie Smith at midfield. He had to extend both arms and just caught that with his hands.
Now that was an audible. This was an audible. And he hit Charlie White on a stop pattern. Nice catch, way up high. 1st down.
So Charlie Smith making a reception to keep the Eagles on the move. That'll spot the ball on the Viking 48 as Ron Jaworski huddles with Dick Vermeil. Vermeil was lavish in his praise after last week's game, saying Jaworski played a beautiful game. He has matured now, and he has really come of age.
Well, this whole team has. This is a better football team than a lot of people realize. They're well coached. Dick Vermeil works them hard. They're disciplined. He has a fine coaching staff. The reason Jaworski called an audible is that the Vikings faked a dog. He thought they were going to dog, and that's why 20 Harris stepped up to pick up the blitzer.
Jaworski last year had only a dozen interceptions while throwing for 18 touchdowns. And then he coming off a very good exhibition season. He broke the seal, of course, last week with 3 touchdowns against Denver. 14-7 Eagles, 146 to the half.
They played so well against Denver last week in that opener. If you're not careful, when you open up and play an almost perfect game, there's a tendency to let down the next week.
Well, 1st and 10 on the Viking 48-yard line. Charlie Smith goes wide right. Carmichael is wide left. Fitzke is in a slot going deep. Jaworski's going to dump it to Leroy Harris. He's to the 45, to the 40, and steps out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with the ball at the Viking 40 with 1:40 left to the half.
Smart play by Leroy Harris. Got out of bounds. Stop the clock. Jaworski wanted to go downfield. He had the outlet man. Good coverage by the Vikings. Forced him to get off.
2nd and 2 on the Viking 40-yard line. Jaworski is 7 for 10 for 58 yards. He's thrown 1 interception, picked off by John Turner. He goes slot left. Both backs release. Jaworski throwing over the shoulders of the on-rushing lineman to Leroy Harris, who gets inside the 35-yard line and picks up the 1st down.
Actually, what the Vikings are doing, they have 3 down linemen, but they're dogging 1 linebacker, so it makes a 4-man rush. With Franklin, then they're in field goal range right now.
You saw that implacable Bud Grant countenance just staring out at the field. For Bud, of course, he has 10 new players on the club, and here in Minnesota, one thing that has not been a Minnesota trademark, they have had a lot of injuries, and very early.
They had a pretty good draft. They had 7 or 8 people that they're counting on out of 12 draft choices that they think can help this ball club.
And we mentioned that one of them they've already lost, and that would be Willie Teal, who was a 2nd-round pick. a rookie who underwent knee surgery and is lost for the year. And of course, up front on the offensive line, they have a for the first time in their last 5 possessions, the Eagles have good field position. They have the ball on their own 47-yard line, and they'll put it in play 1st and 10. Charlie Smith right. Harold Carmichael, still looking for his first reception of the day, goes left. Montgomery and Harris, the running back. They go to Carmichael, and he fell down. Now, how do you like that?
That's one sure way of increasing your consecutive string. A quick screen to the X-man, to the split end. He slipped and fell. You know, talking about running, the Eagles have only made 31 yards running since the touchdown by Montgomery. So neither team has done much on the ground.
Here's Harold Carmichael, 6'8", 225 pounds, a #1 receiver in the NFC last year. 2nd and 10. Fake by Jaworski. He's got time to go to Montgomery, and he falls down after making the catch.
Well, again, Vin, I know I'm repeating myself. He wanted to go downfield. Carmichael is doubled. He has to come off of Carmichael and dump it off.
He only made 3 yards on the... If they need a field goal, he'll be ready. It is 2nd and 10. The ball on the Viking 23-yard line with 1:16 to the half. Slot left. Carmichael inside Smith.
Back up, Bob.
And Jaworski with time in the end zone, broken up. And the man to touch it with Tommy Hannon. Nate Wright was also there, so they double-teamed the tight end, Keith Krefley.
He's very fortunate that wasn't intercepted. Watch Tommy Hannon, 45, come across here. He has a good chance to intercept this right there. Very fortunate that wasn't intercepted.
So this will be the call now for Ron Jaworski. 3rd and 10 on the Viking 23. We have 1:12 to the half.
Then the thinking here is, do you get the first down? Do you go for a pass 11, 12 yards and get the first down? Or do you go for a touchdown? Or do you run the ball and get it closer for the field goal?
Billy Campfield is now in there in the backfield, and he's in motion to the right. Montgomery releases, and they give it to Wilbert Montgomery, and John Turner brought him down. And let's check and see where they're going to figure he spotted. It's enough, certainly for Tony Franklin, because the ball is down close to about the 21-yard line.
That last pass is like a run. It's like a 4 or 5 yard run when you dump it off to the second back.
So they're going to ask Franklin to kick a 31-yard field goal. And to repeat, he kicked a 59-yarder against Dallas. Minnesota is going to take a timeout with 45 seconds to the half. Tony Franklin, to call this a chip shot, it really means it. He was 20 for 24 on field goal attempts inside the 50, and 3 times he kicked it 50 or better. His longest field goal so far this year, 32 yards. So by the time the spot will go down, he'll have to kick 38 yards, a line of scrimmage on the 21.
He believes that he gets a better feel of the ball, the leather, by kicking without a shoe. And the cold weather doesn't bother him.
Boy, I would love to have seen those boots against Baylor, one for 64 and one for 65. But we'll settle for this one. So the Barefoot boys stood on the deck. 38-yard field goal, the line of scrimmage at the 21, so John Shara will spot it 7 yards deep, and then you tack on the 10 yards from the goal line. Whoop, a lot of movement. Naturally, the Vikings claimed they were being drawn off, and they were. It was a legal procedure against the Eagles. So he had another 5 yards.
Last week, on Thursday night, Vin, when we saw that 5 yards, when Reggie Doss jumped off sides, that was just enough for Ypres to kick that field goal that made the difference.
False start, number 69 on the offense.
Well, this time it's against the Eagles, so you'll add another 5. The spot will be at the 33-yard line, so it's a 43-yard field goal attempt by Tony Franklin. It is no good, and the Minnesota Vikings have dodged a bullet.
Plenty long, went over by 8-9 yards, but to the right.
So that's the first field goal attempt that Franklin has missed. He was 2 for 2 last week. Well, the line of scrimmage at the 26-yard line, and that's where the Vikings will put it in play. 1st and 10. We have 40 seconds to the half. Does Kramer crank up and go the distance?
I would think so. With his receivers, with Rashad and White and the rest of the receivers, he's got a chance to get down there and at least get in field goal range.
Well, we'll see now how he does it. Sammy White goes right. Rashad goes left. He's getting some protection. Humphrey can't get at him, but it's off Cincer's hands, and then he tried to one-hand it and couldn't do it. He was battling Bill Berge.
And again, I think we'll see that the ball was thrown behind him. Usually if a ball's thrown behind, there's a chance for a deflection and for the defense to intercept it. And that's what happened on that last play.
So Tommy Kramer, 2nd and 10, down by 7 with 35 seconds of the half. He broke in, scoring 3 touchdowns with 12 minutes left in the game against San Francisco.
I remember that.
So this is nothing new for him. This time he surprises a few people by handing off to Ted Brown. You have 27 seconds and counting.
He has a quick release. The next time you see Kramer throw that ball, he releases that ball so quickly.
17 seconds to the half. Flag on the play. I think the Eagles were offside. Carl Hairston. They dumped the ball off to Ted Brown. He loses it going out of bounds, so he's still possessing it. And they also get a first down.
And the
Eagles clock stops at 7 seconds.
You're right. The Eagles were offsides.
Yeah, without a doubt, the man who moved was Carl Hairston, the right end. So 7 seconds to the half. 14-7 in favor of the Eagles, who got out in front 14-0. Then the Vikings came back and got down to within a chance of tying it up and couldn't do it.
Then I would think here he's got to put up a bomb to either Rashad or White. He's got 7 seconds.
I was just going to say, I'm wondering about Terry LeCount.
Offsides, number 78 on the defense. Penalty is declined. It's a first down.
All right, Carl Hairston was definitely offside. Terry LeCount, who is a big play guy, is now back in there for Minnesota. LeCount, number 80, there he is. Bob Tucker is the tight end. So you have Rashad, White, and LeCount all going to the right side. Boy, you talk about a relay team. Watch those 3 rabbits go.
That's what it is.
So all 3 go down the field, and Kramer throws it as long and as far as he can. No good. And the closest man to it was Bernard Wilson of Philadelphia.
1 second left.
So it stopped the clock with a second. I guess you call that trips, don't you, when you have 3 receivers on one side?
Trips right and trips left. He can do the same thing now to the other side.
Would you, or would you stay to the same side? Does it make any difference?
Well, I'd try to work on their most inexperienced or weakest defender, and if it's 43 young, then you'd stay to the same side.
Ted Brown is coming out of the backfield. Doug Pascal, number 40, is now in there. Now Rashad comes out. So in a big moment, Rashad will come out, and it's Kevin Miller, number 87, coming this way. So you have Terry LeCount, number 80, Kevin Miller, number 87, Sammy White, 85. Again, trips. 3 receivers going downfield for Kramer. Time is going to run out, and Kramer has run out of time as he is necktied by Charlie Johnson, and that's the half.
Johnson's had a good half. He's had constant pressure on Kramer. He's a good nose man. Tie him in with 87, Claude Humphrey, you got two fine pass rushers.
In looking back over the ball game, of course, the highlight was Wilbert Montgomery's 72-yard touchdown run. Ahmad Rashad came back with a touchdown to get Minnesota in the ball game. The Vikings had a chance and let it get away, so the Eagles lead at half, 14-7.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Ford Motor Company, bringing you a new generation of small, fuel-efficient cars that arrive this fall. Today's Army, join the people who've joined the Army. And by Prestone 2 Antifreeze. It has a silicone silicate formula to lock out rust and corrosion.
Hi, once again, everybody. Ben Scully along with George Allen, Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. The Minnesota Vikings have beaten the Eagles 7 times, all 7 meetings in the past. But right now, the Eagles are leading Minnesota 14-7, and they were doing it on plays like this. Leroy Harris busting over from 2 yards out, culminating a 12-play drive that went 73 yards. Then Wilbert Montgomery in the most explosive run of the day. That's Stan Walters, number 75, lowering the bloom on John Turner, and that's all Wilbert Montgomery needed to open the door. No chance that Dave Roller, number 76, was going to catch him, and it was Montgomery going into the end zone for the touchdown. That made it 14-0 Philadelphia, and it looked like the Vikes were really in for a bad day. But then Jaworski was passing to Carmichael. Carmichael, with the pass underthrown, had to watch John Turner make the interception. And Turner bringing the ball back into Eagle territory, putting them in pretty good shape on the Eagle 35. And Kramer looking for one of his favorite receivers, and that would be Ahmad Rashad. And he cranked it down. Number 28 is Rashad, making the reception and the touchdown. So that made it 14-7. It looked like the Vikings were going to tie it up. Kramer going into the end zone. This one off the hands of Joe Sensor and picked off by the Eagles' Bernard Wilson. So the Eagles dodged a bullet, went on to hold on to the ball, miss a field goal, and it is 14-7 Philadelphia as we await the start of the third quarter. Rick Danmeyer will be kicking off. Dixon flanked by Giamona and Canfield. And the kick is deep. So Zach Dixon will take it on about the 2. He's to the 10, 15, and stacked up at the 16-yard line. Down to get him was Nord, and he has really been a terror for the special teams. Keith Nord, 2 years at St. Cloud State.
Well, the Vikings have had excellent coverage on 2 kickoff returns. When you hold the kickoff return team inside of the 20, that's outstanding.
So 1st and 10 on the Eagles' 16-yard line. The Eagles have not had good field position. And looking back, they had it 1st and 10 on their own 7. They had it 1st and 10 on their own 18. Now they have it 1st and 10 on their own 16. Jaworski with Montgomery, the deep man, out of the eye, and Carmichael goes left. Charlie Smith goes right, and Smith in motion. Keith Krefley is the tight end for Philadelphia. Here comes Montgomery with Harris blocking. And fighting off the block was John Turner, number 27. He took Harris's best shot and still got Montgomery.
You know, Ben, the Vikings are staying with that 34 defense, which is a little better to stop the wide plays. You got that extra linebacker flowing over there. I've always felt it was more difficult to sweep a 34 team. The only time the Vikings are going to the 4-man front is in a sure passing situation.
So Bud Grant looking on as his defense tries to stiffen. It'll be 2nd and 3. The ball on the Eagle 24. Pick up at 7. This time Leroy Harris butting heads, and he didn't get anywhere. Mark Mullaney at the bottom to stack it up. And coming in is John Spagnola, the tight end.
He gives them a big target with Spagnola and Carmichael in there. You have 2 big targets.
Coming out is Charlie Smith, so they're using 2 tight ends, Keith Krefley and Spagnola. Green Bay leading Detroit 7-6, and you can see Buffalo now leading the Jets 13-3 in the third. So a big third down play, 3rd and 3 from the 24. With the 2 tight ends over the middle, a play action fake, and Jaworski now throwing to Wilbert Montgomery. Knocked out of bounds by Knopf and picked up the first down. So good fake into the line by Leroy Harris.
Excellent fake. They made the play on him. He has Carmichael going deep. He was looking deep for Carmichael, but he was covered, and he got the first down, dumping it off to the back.
He got it out to the Eagle 31-yard line, so they have moved it from their own 16 for a first down on the 31.
3rd and 3 is runner pass, and that's the situation he was in that time.
1st and 10 for Jaworski. Charlie Smith back in the game wide right. Carmichael still looking for his first of the day. And it was intended for Leroy Harris, and he fell down. And there's a flag on the play.
You know, Ben, the Eagles' passing game to date hasn't been much of a threat to the Vikings.
Jaworski is 10 for 15, but only for 72 yards and 1 interception. Kramer is 14 for 31 for 162 yards, a touchdown and an interception.
The Vikings defense has done a good job of taking the passes away downfield.
In a moment, we will get the call on that penalty, and apparently it is against the Eagles.
Forcing him to dump it off to the backs.
Perhaps a holding call to try and buy a little time for Jaworski.
Holding number 76 on the offense. Still first down.
That's Jerry Sizemore, who was picked off for holding. Mark Mullaney was putting the heat on, and Sizemore grabbed those double sevens. So it is 1st and 20. The ball back on the Eagle 21. Here comes Montgomery, and he got away from Mullaney. Turned in by Hannon, and Studwell will bring him down along with John Turner.
Well, that's a counter play. He was hit for a 3-yard loss and got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picked up a yard on his own. I like to see that rather than try to throw all 3 downs. Get some of it back on first down, run the football.
So it is 2nd and 15 now. The ball on the Eagle 26. Mullaney just missed getting Montgomery from behind. 14-7 Eagles in the early going of the 3rd quarter. Both backs releasing, and Jaworski's going to dump it off to Leroy Harris, who grabs it to the 25, got by Turner, and is going to be pushed out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Blair and Knopf over there to make sure he couldn't turn it.
And again, Vin, watch Jaworski's head. He wants to go downfield. They're covered. He's forced to dump it off. Nice catch by Leroy Harris. He put a move on Turner, missed tackle. They're forcing him to dump it off to the backs, and usually you don't pick up too many yards dumping it off to the backs.
Well, now here's his big call. 3rd and 9. The ball on the Eagle 32-yard line. They go slot right. Fitzke is inside Charlie Smith right. Carmichael left, and Montgomery on a wing. And everybody going out. Jaworski has his man Billy Campfield, who makes the reception, but it's not enough for a first down.
Not bad. I'm sure he wanted to get the first down. He slipped and fell.
Billy Campfield made a headline last year. He ran a kickoff return 92 yards for a touchdown against Detroit. He doesn't see too much wear and tear as far as handling the football. So here is Max Runniger, and there is Eddie Payton standing back on the Minnesota 20, and Payton was turning to cheer with the bleacher boys who want to see him get his hands on the ball. The only time he caught a punt today, he was already out of bounds, and the kickoffs have kept him deep in his own end zone. Runniger will be kicking from the Eagle 25. Gets it away. And here comes Payton. Still on his feet, a flag on the play, and down he goes. He got to the 35-yard line, and now let's see. There's little Eddie. Eddie Payton, the older brother of Walter Payton.
Not much of a chance on that. Good coverage. The Eagles have fine special teams.
Tell you one reason why Payton is with Minnesota. He was originally a free agent with Cleveland, and against Minnesota in 1977, he had a 98-yard kickoff return and an 87-yard punt return. So the old story, you can't beat him, join him. Minnesota wanted him, and they've got him. Here's the call now on the penalty.
Clipping.
Personal foul, clipping.
Number 81 during the run back. It's 1st and 10.
And the 81 is the tight end Joe Sensor. He's the kid from the Philadelphia area playing for Minnesota. Well, with 11:22 in the third quarter, 14-7 Philadelphia. First and 10 for Minnesota. The ball is on the Viking 21-yard line. The Eagles leading 14-7, 11:22 left in the third. Kramer brings him up. Sammy White inside Ahmad Rashad as they go slot right. Ricky Young and Ted Brown, the running back. Ted Brown with Hamilton try to block, and he is grabbed down from behind by Carl Hairston. So Hairston, 260-pounder, but he was right there with Ted Brown.
Hairston's quick. The Vikings aren't going to run much against this Eagle defense. On this last play, a little different look. The Eagles rotated right to the flanker, right to Rashad. So they're helping Young. They're giving him some help deep.
Second on 11, a loss of 1, and the ball back on the Viking 20-yard line. Sandwhite comes right. This time Rashad goes the other way. Tucker is the tight end on the right side. Kramer on a drop, fakes once. Still looking desperately and throws it in the dirt. Bob Tucker was there. And let's see.
It looks like intentional grounding. I don't.
Tucker was right at the ball. Bob Tucker, number 38, in the left-hand side, is right there on the ground. Dennis Swilly might very well, because of all that scrambling, been an ineligible receiver downfield, and I think that might be the call. Both Swilly and Hamilton. On a busted play like that, of course, that's a nightmare to have all those linemen moving around.
And with a wet field, a slippery field, you can't move around too much.
It was second on 11, and of course they're going to lose it down as well and put the ball on the 10.
Lineman down the field during the pass. Number 61 of the offense.
Wes Hamilton.
Second down.
They'll make it second and 21. In taking the penalty, charge against Wes Hamilton. Number 61 is Wes Hamilton, and he starts to move out, and there he goes.
The play should develop. He's assuming that it's a normal play and it will develop. So
second and 21 from the 10-yard line. High snap, but Kramer stayed with it. And now going deep down the left side, Rashad makes the reception, but no good. He was already out of bounds.
You know, Kramer can throw that football like a baseball. Rashad is covered, and he just loops it right in there. He's got a strong arm.
Talking about Tommy Kramer, you talk about a game being in a family. We told you he's the 7th son of a 7th son. He's the youngest of 11 children. 3 other brothers have been quarterbacks. He's had a brother, a quarterback at Rice, a brother, a quarterback at North Texas State, and a brother, a quarterback at Sam Houston. So it really runs strong in that game, in that family. Third and 21. A low pass to Joe Sensor, and the tight end made a good shoestring catch, but he has to go out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
You know, Vin, the Vikings have only made 20 yards running in this football game today. 20 yards running.
I think they made 77 last week, and the gag up here was that Billy Sims, all alone, had more than doubled the ground attack of Minnesota. So Greg Coleman on a 4th and 8, he'll be from his own 10-yard line. And deep for the Eagles, their deep man will be standing on the 35, and that's John Shara. So Shara at the 37 to the 45, boxed in, and down he goes.
Low snap on that one. He made a nice shortstop play.
So 1st and 10, Eagles on their own 47, leading 14-7. For the first time in their last 5 possessions, the Eagles have good field position. They have the ball on their own 47-yard line, and they'll put it in play 1st and 10. Charlie Smith right. Harold Carmichael, still looking for his first reception of the day, goes left. Montgomery and Harris, the running back. They go to Carmichael, and he fell down. Now, how do you like that?
That's one sure way of increasing your consecutive string. A quick screen to the X-man, to the split end. He slipped and fell. You know, talking about running, the Eagles have only made 31 yards running since the touchdown by Montgomery. So neither team has done much on the ground.
There's Harold Carmichael, 6'8", 225 pounds, a #1 receiver in the NFC last year. 2nd and 10. Play action fake by Jaworski. He's got time to go to Montgomery, and he falls down after making the catch.
Well, again, Vin, I know I'm repeating myself. He wanted to go downfield. Carmichael is doubled. He has to come off of Carmichael and dump it off.
He only made 3 yards on the play, so it is 3rd and 7 on the Eagle 49-yard line.
I'll tell you one thing, you can't waste field position like this. You don't get it all the time. And the Vikings are still staying in that 34 defense.
Billy Camfield and Scott Fitzke are back in the game. Fitzke was going right, but they tell him to go left. They want Carmichael inside Charlie Smith over there. So it's Montgomery and Camfield behind Jaworski, and they both release. Pass down the middle to Carmichael, and there it is. Turner makes the tackle inside the 40-yard line. They pick up the first down, and there is numero uno for Harold Carmichael.
Well, they had 4 down linemen, and they dogged one. That opened the middle. Carmichael came across, picked up a first down. Good execution.
On the Viking 39, the Eagles will put it in play 1st and 10. Keith Krefley comes back in there at tight end, and he'll go on the left side. And Carmichael and Smith go slot right. Leroy Harris is back in there with Wilbert Montgomery. 1st and 10 on the Viking 39. Here comes Wilbert Montgomery, and he's got a little daylight. Still going. And he cuts inside the 35, dropped at about the 31. Jeff Seaman finally came over to hammer him.
Wilbert Montgomery made a good move on that missed tackle. You sometimes say, well, a guy missed a tackle. When you get a guy like Wilbert Montgomery with his speed and size and the elusiveness he has, you're going to have missed tackles.
He has now carried the ball 14 times, and he's averaging 10 yards a carry, 143 yards, but of course he had one for a touchdown of over 70. 2nd and 2 for Jaworski on the Viking 31. Second man, Wilbert Montgomery, and he bursts through and picks up the first down as he is down shy of the 25, just about on the Viking 27-yard line.
Now they seem to get their running game going again. And that's a good call. 2nd and 2, sometimes you try to hit a big play, get the first down, keep the drive going.
First and 10, the ball on the Viking 27-yard line. Remember, the Eagles started on their own 46. Jaworski, a fake left, going deep in the end zone, no good. Flag on the play. Bobby Bryant and Wilbert Montgomery were bumping heads, and there'll be 2 flags thrown in that area.
As he tried to turn upfield, number 20, Bobby Bryant, jammed him. No bumps after 5 yards. And Naturally, he overthrew the receiver because he was jammed.
Bobby Bryant, the veteran, 12 years from South Carolina in the NFL. We're waiting now for the officials to make the call. Red Cashin is the referee, and here comes the redhead.
Holding number 20 on the defense. First down.
So Bobby Bryant guilty of holding. It'll be 1st and 10. The ball spotted on the Viking 22.
And Bobby did the smart thing. You don't give him a cheap touchdown.
Jaworski is 14 for 20 for 99 yards. No touchdowns, 1 interception. Montgomery following Petey Perreault's block, and he gets across and inside the 15-yard line. He ran right behind number 62, Petey Perreault.
You can't see it, but the flanker, Smith, was in motion here, and he cracks back. Look at Montgomery lower the boom, the leverage he has when he runs.
John Turner will feel that because Montgomery ran right over him.
Here it is again.
So we have 6 minutes and 41 seconds left in the third. It's 14-7 Eagles, and they're driving. 6 minutes and 39 seconds left in the third quarter. 14-7 Eagles, and they have a 2nd and 1. The ball on the Viking 12-yard line. Prefley is a tight end on the right side. Carmichael shaken loose on the left inside Charlie Smith. And Wilbert Montgomery with Sizemore trying to lead the way, but he just ran by Sizemore, and John Turner knocked him out of bounds.
Montgomery has the speed to run wide. They like that flip to him. That's a similar play that he scored on. Sizemore pulls, the tackle pulls. Either Walters or the tackle pulls on the play.
The ball is just shy of the 10-yard line as he went out of bounds to pick up the first down. So he has to go a little bit more than 10 yards for a touchdown. Out of the eye, Montgomery is the deep man. Spagnola is the tight end on the right side. Montgomery cutting back inside the 5, jerked down at about the 4-yard line.
Well, here's the I formation. Give the ball to the tailback. He picks a hole, has good blocking. Right up the middle.
See, Tom Hannon tried to stick him with a shoulder, but Montgomery's too tough for that. He just bounced right off his shoulder to move on inside the 5.
Now, Vin, the Eagles are doing what they do best, run the football, hammer it home.
2nd down, the ball on the 4-yard line. Carmichael is now on a wing. And it is Leroy Harris. See you later. No doubt about Harris exploding for his 2nd touchdown on the right side. And that makes it now 20-7. They go 54 yards in 9 plays.
Well, they give the ball to the front man, the fullback, straight ahead, quick hitting. Good, sound, basic, fundamental football.
So the Eagles, who had scored 14 points in the first quarter and then lay dormant in the second, bounce back, trying to make 7 for Tony Franklin and give him a 21-7 lead. The spot to hold by Shara, and the kick is good. Well, we have 5 minutes and 29 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Eagles 21 and the Minnesota Vikings 7. At 5'6" and 176 pounds, Eddie Payton has to be the hungriest man in Bloomington, trying to get his hands on the football and make a return. Franklin is going to kick it to him, and he will have his chance at the 6, to the 15, at the wedge through the 25, and dropped it about the 28-yard line. So Eddie Payton finally gets a chance to make a return. On the sidelines, Leroy Harris has scored 2 touchdowns for the Eagles today, And they're leading by those two. It is 21-7 Philadelphia. And now the Vikings trying to come alive. Harold Carmichael has caught a pass, so he has kept a string going of 114 straight with at least one reception. But so far for Harold Carmichael, it has been otherwise a thoroughly forgettable game. 1st and 10 on the 29-yard line for Tommy Kramer. Sammy White in motion to the right. Ricky Young trying to get some purchase, and instead he got Bill Berge, and Berge dropped him. Atlanta in a wild one, leading New England 28-21 in the 3rd. Buffalo breezing over the Jets 20-3 in the 3rd. Tough one. Green Bay 7, Detroit 6 in the 2nd. 13-3, Chicago leading New Orleans in the 2nd. And Baltimore shading Pittsburgh 7-6 so far in the 2nd. Seattle over Kansas City 17-0 in the 2nd. 2nd and 10 for the Vikings on the 29. This time it's Ted Brown, and Brown picks up out to the 35-yard line. John Bunting finally knocked him down.
Well, that was a good call, Vin. They ran a draw, quick draw. With the amount of passing they're doing, they don't have their running game going. You got to mix in the draws and the screens.
Bud Grant shuttling in his plays, sending in Joe Sensor, the tight end, as well as Terry LeCount. So on a 3rd and 3, the ball is on the Viking 36-yard line, and Grant trying to find the solution to keep the drive alive. The Vikings send LeCount and White wide left. Rashad goes to the right. Kramer out of the shotgun. Buying a little bit of time. Throws to Rashad, who dropped it.
You know what? He started to run with the ball. If you can see his head, he looked. Now watch Rashad's head. Kramer's rushed. He does a good job of moving around, find the open man. Now watch him release the ball. Watch Rashad's head.
That really hurt him because it not only went through his hands, it hit him right between the legs, and he's down on his back.
Right, looking straight downfield. Straight downfield. He didn't look at the ball at all.
So Rashad is shaken up. And of course, he dropped a cinched touchdown pass last week that he's still embarrassed about.
It could have cost him the game. Now, here it is again. He's looking straight downfield. When you catch the ball, your head pops right down.
Oh, that hurt.
He'll be all right.
So it is 4th and 3 on the 36-yard line. And Ahmad Rashad shaken up.
Up until this series, the Vikings had 20 yards running. They picked up a few yards on that 2nd down draw.
Bud Grant, who has been through it all, of course, in his great career that has seen him take the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls, along with 3 NFC titles, an NFL championship, 10 division titles. He'll bide his time. So Rashad slowly walking off the field. Very slowly. You talk about getting your bell rung. So Rashad goes to the sidelines. It is 21-7 Eagles, and it is 4th and 3, so Greg Coleman will be doing the punting from his own 25. Jeff Seaman will be back to pick up strays and block for him. And John Shara, the handyman, 3 years out of UCLA, who owns in partnership, he has an insurance firm. That's pretty good when you're handling punts in the NFL. Coleman getting some heat and just did get it away. And Shara will handle it at the 31. Got by LeCount, is outside the 40. And the fella come flying in was Dixon. And Dixon just missed blocking that punt for Philadelphia.
He went too deep then. If he'd have gone for the ball out in front, he'd had a chance.
It's doing here.
We didn't believe you two could build your own house.
Yeah, well, don't look. It's not finished.
Well, I guess we'll just take our loan, Brown, go home.
Well, maybe one quick look around.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
What are you going to do when you finish this place? Just what I'm doing right now.
Philadelphia leading Minnesota 21-7, 3:35 left in the third quarter. And here's a note for you. The Eagles have had the ball for 46 plays, and Montgomery has handled it 23 times. So a half of it has gone to Montgomery. In motion, Charlie Smith. And here goes Wilbert handling for his 24th play. And this time he is buried as he gets out to about the 45-yard line. Hit from the side by Ken Sanders.
Well, then they have great field position again. And again, they're doing what they do well, run the football.
Montgomery has now rushed for 168 yards, so he is getting the signals and cashing them in. By the way, in the Chicago-Pittsburgh game, Archie Manning has suffered a broken nose. Make that New Orleans. Yes, Chicago, New Orleans. 2nd and 7. Ball at the 45-yard line, and Jaworski getting a good block by Montgomery, and he's got Carmichael. No good. Carmichael had knocked right out about at the 32-yard line.
Jaworski did a great job of reading that. The corner came right up and tried to bump him and jam him. He avoided him. See the corner up there, Turner. And he split the defense.
So Carmichael trying to keep moving as they knock him out of bounds. And it'll be a 1st and 10 on the Viking 31-yard line. Carmichael's 2nd reception of the day. In motion, Charlie Smith. Leroy Harris grinding across people. Randy Holloway tried to stack up the play, and he ran over Holloway and ran into Scott Studwell.
Well, Ben, when you can run on 1st and 10 and pick up 4 yards, you're on offense. You're putting the defense on defense. And Jaworski has been able to run successfully so that when he does pass, it cuts down the rush. And that's what he's been able to do today.
Flashing a couple of scores for you as the Eagles move on with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in the third. 2nd and 7. The ball on the Viking 28-yard line. Play action fake to Leroy Harris, getting some heat. He unloads to Montgomery. Fred McNeil primarily drove him out of bounds, but he picked up the 1st down. So Jaworski starting to move this Philadelphia machine with the running of Montgomery and his own passing. 1st and 10. He'll spot the ball just shy of the Viking 20-yard line. There is the Chicago 13, New Orleans 3. Manning suffering a broken nose. Carmichael goes to the right side this time. We'll see if Jaworski looks for him. He's going for his big man who made the reception, and John Turner will hold on to him at about the 1-yard line. Carmichael slipping, falling, and still making a fine reception.
And watch the dog. They dog 2 linebackers, so it's a 6-man rush. Jaworski throws the ball off balance, a little bit short. Carmichael comes back, makes a fine catch. 1st down. Well executed call play against the dog.
Carmichael has now caught 3 for 56 yards. And of course, it's a 1st and goal for the Eagles now, leading 21-7. They have Krefley at tight end on the left side, Spagnola at tight end on the right side. Wilbert Montgomery hit by Blair and stacked up, fought his way across anyway. Remember, all you have to do is get on or over the goal line to break the plane. And he needed all that. That's where he's hit by Studwell and Blair, but then the 2nd effort got him across.
Individual effort. It's a short yardage play where the lead black goes through the hole. We call it the M hunch, 44 M hunch, and Montgomery did it on his own.
So the Eagles go 58 yards in 6 plays. Montgomery punching over for his second touchdown. That balances his books with Leroy Harris. And the Eagles lead 27-7. And here is Tony Franklin now making it 28-7. The spot and hold by John Shara. And the kick is perfect. So we have 52 seconds left in the third quarter, and the Eagles trying to fly away with it now. They've added one more point to that score, and they lead 28-7. And there is Harold Carmichael, who has caught a big 3 for 56. So he's caught him in 114, and Wilbert Montgomery, who finally punched it over.
The Eagles have been a machine these last 2 series, Vin, right down the field.
And there, of course, is one of the big cylinders, Wilbert Montgomery, who went over 3,000 yards career rushing today. He has scored 2 touchdowns in this game. Last year, he scored 4 touchdowns in 1 game against Washington. 4 years from Abilene Christian. He was a 6th-round draft choice, and in the words of Bud Grant, Grant said if the Eagles didn't have as many talented players as they have, if they just kept giving the ball to Wilbert Montgomery, he would have as many yardage as Walter Payton.
That's quite a compliment. Kramer's got his work cut out for him. He once pulled a game out you talked about against the 49ers a few years ago. He was behind by a similar score and threw 3 touchdown passes.
He had 12.5 minutes left and came off the bench to do it. The heat on him now with 52 seconds left in the third quarter. 28-7 Eagles, and Franklin kicks it. Payton fell down. Now comes up and drops the ball. Goes back to get it, and Dixon is all over him. And so Eddie Payton first slipped and fell down, then muffed the kick, and finally down he goes inside the 10-yard line.
There's Dick Vermeil talking to his offense.
It looked like Minnesota had all the momentum, and they let it get away. Next week, Minnesota will be playing at Chicago, St. Louis at Detroit, and the 49ers and the New York Jets. The doubleheader games in the scheduling will feature Green Bay at Los Angeles, Tampa Bay at Dallas, and George will be looking at Washington at Oakland.
It should be a good game.
1st and 10 on the Viking 9, so Kramer has a long way to go. Fake to Ricky Young, then passing to Young, who falls down at about the 13-yard line.
Kramer's got to throw the ball just about every down. They haven't had any success running. They're behind by 3 touchdowns. That was a good call. That was a second back through, a check down.
You know, you said Kramer has to throw the ball every time. You know, last year against the Patriots, he passed 61 times. Well, so far today, he's passed 35 times. It's hard to believe a Minnesota team throwing the ball 61 times, isn't it?
Minnesota originally built their offense on running the ball. Good, hard, tough running game.
2nd and 6 on the 13. And there's the end of the third quarter with the score, the Eagles 28 and the Vikings 7. And we now pause for a word from your local station. With 28 for Philadelphia, 7 for Minnesota, we press on into the fourth quarter. And for the Vikings, it has been a pressing day so far. Kramer is 16 for 35 for 178 yards and 1 touchdown. He wants Terry LeCount to get over to the right side. Kramer wobbly, intended for Tucker. Berge is bringing him down, and of course the Vikings felt that Berge had a hold of him before the ball was even halfway on its way.
You know, that Berge's coming off of surgery. He's built himself up. He's an intense individual. He's really the leader in that defense, and he's all over the field. He loves to play football. Tremendous credit to the Eagles in the game.
Yeah, he had a left knee injury that required surgery after the third game against New Orleans, and are they ever happy to have him back? Bill Berge from Arkansas State, 12 years in the league. 3rd and 6 on the 13. Almost thrown over Kramer's head. Now he's in a hurry, and he throws a wobbler intended for Terry LeCount, and the only man over there was Blackmore of Philadelphia.
The high snap threw him off. You know, Bud Grant's had to change the personality of this team. He doesn't have the same type of personnel we were talking about before. He doesn't have that great defensive line he once had. Eller, Page, and Larson.
And remember Jim Marshall, who sent them a telegram last week from his hospital, exhorting the Vikings and helping them, I'm sure, in their victory. 4th and 6. Coleman punting from just about his yard line as he comes out. And he arrowed that one. John Shara handling it on the 46 of Philadelphia, and he's into Viking territory down at about the 45. Robert Miller and Scott Studwell down there.
I like the way John Scherer is always going forward on punt returns. He's a solid returner.
Well, George was talking a moment ago about this young man, John Shara, who played quarterback under Dick Vermeil at UCLA. He was originally drafted by the Chicago Bears, spent a couple of years in the Canadian Football League, and now he's a mainstay on special teams for the Eagles. 1st and 10 for the Eagles on the Viking 45. Jaworski fakes left and goes deep right for Scott Fitzke. Touchdown. He was out in front of John Turner just like that.
2 things happened there. He had double coverage. He read the coverage, and look at the protection. Look at the protection he has. All day to throw. He looked left, then he looked right, and he laid it right in there. Now this Fitzke is an underrated receiver. He's got good speed. Another Penn State man, Joe Paterno, graduate. Perfect execution, Van.
So Scott Fitzke making the touchdown catch. That was a 45-yard play. So just like that, he's on the scoreboard, and the Eagles are breezing. 33-7, and Franklin trying to make it 34. The spot and the kick. So it is the Eagles out in front now with this big touchdown, sitting on top of a 35-7 lead. Scott Fitzke has caught 2 passes this year, a 16-yarder for a TD, a 45-yarder for a TD. It's 35-7 Philadelphia. Let's see what Eddie Payton can do with this one. He's tired of taking it in the end zone. And he has dropped at the 25-yard line. First man to hit him was Baker. We are going back through the books because naturally for the Vikings, they're not accustomed to being pushed around as much as they have been today. Ron Jaworski and company has ground out a 35-7 lead. And we have most of the 4th quarter left. That's Louis Giamona, who is the captain of the special team. Kramer down the middle, and the pass deflected. It was intended for Sammy White.
Almost intercepted by Robinson.
Jaworski has 18 for 24 and 195 yards. Kramer is 16 for 38 and 178 yards. Each has thrown for a touchdown.
The big thing Jaworski has done, then we talked about, is he's had great field position. 3 times he's put him in the end zone.
So it is 2nd and 10 on the Minnesota 26-yard line. Scrambling just to stay alive now. Ted Brown carries, and he is dropped shy of the 30-yard line. The Vikings really just trying to play for pride because they've been out of this game ever since the Eagles exploded for 14 in the 3rd. 35-7 Philadelphia. Ironic that Bud Grant, the great coach of Minnesota, played for the Eagles. He played for the Eagles. He was their #1 draft choice way back in 1950. He was the #2 receiver in the NFL in 1952. 3rd and 7, and Kramer still trying to get something going. And it is broken up by Blackmore, and if he had held on to it, intended for the count, it was wide open.
Blackmore read it all the way, got the jump on the ball, had a touchdown. So,
by the way, and we bring this up in case you're wondering, with the Vikings buried 35-7. What's the largest score ever against the Minnesota Vikings? Well, St. Louis beat him by 42, 56-14. The Rams beat him by 36 in 1967. And that punt doesn't quite make it to midfield. It's going to die on the Viking 45-yard line. The Eagles open up shop, and they're in business yet again.
That's the way it is. Everything goes wrong. He kind of hooked his toe on that punt. It came right back.
We have 13 minutes and 26 seconds left in the ball game. It is all Philadelphia leading the Vikings 35-7. And Jaworski with great field position on the Viking 45, first and 10. Pitching back to Lou Giamona. And Giamona across the 35 to the 33. He is the nephew of Dick Vermeil. But besides that, he is a fine young ball player. You know, when he was at Utah State, he had 17 games where he rushed for over 100 yards.
He's tough, Vin, and he's strong. He's got a lot of leadership, a lot of hustle, that type of football player. He isn't what you would think a pro football player would be like, but he gets the job done.
He was originally drafted by the Jets. He had knee surgery, cut loose as a free agent, picked up by the Eagles. They have it first and 10 now on the Viking 34. This time they go to Harrington, and he's across the 30 down to about the Viking 28. Randy Holloway had him by the ankles to drop him. You don't see too much of Harrington, a rookie out of Jackson State. But I'll tell you something, as you see Steve Dills warming up, Perry Harrington was just 34 yards shy of Walter Payton's records at Jackson State.
He's a second-round pick in the draft.
Steve Dills, the holder on points, got a game ball last week, which is somewhat historic. Second and 5 on the Viking 29. Jaworski fakes and then throws it up to Carmichael all alone, and he's still on his feet and goes in. Nope, he didn't. He stepped out of bounds. He stepped out at about the 3-yard line.
The defensive back bid the same type of play they scored on before. Watch Carmichael flag the ball. The defensive back comes up, slips and falls. Carmichael turns upfield, makes a nice catch. He's knocked out of bounds.
And he steps out at the 3-yard line, where it'll be first and goal on the Viking 3. This crowd rather dismayed over what has taken place today. Got about 1,900 no-shows, but the Eagles have shown 35-7 and driving for yet another. Carmichael is on a wing. This time they go to Giamona, and he's in there for the touchdown.
The flag.
And there'll be a flag on the play.
A late flag. He had scored, and then the flag came up.
And it looks like the preliminary signal holding against the Eagles. So Giamona is thwarted, at least for the moment.
All in the fourth quarter.
Holding, number 88 on the offense, still first down.
Giamona, rushing, has one touchdown in his career, and that was for the Jets in 1976. So you can imagine how disappointed he was that time. First and goal from the 13. Harrington is on a wing. Spagnola, the tight end, on the left side. Jaworski going right to Carmichael, all alone.
Is that well executed? That's what we call a fast goal. You just rifle the ball in. 1, 2, 3, right between defenders.
So it is 41-7, Philadelphia.
Well executed. Quick pass. You split the defense.
And remember, there's 11:51 to go. The Eagles went 45 yards in 7 plays. 2 passes to Carmichael, 1 to the 3, and then 1 for a touchdown. So Tony Franklin trying to make it 42. John Shara holding the spot and kick. No doubt about it. He hit the scoreboard. He drilled that thing so hard. The Eagles 42 and the Vikings 7 with 11:51 left in the game. Well, a reminder, tonight on CBS, here's a winning lineup. 60 Minutes, Archie Bunker's Place, One Day at a Time, Alice, the Jeffersons, and topped off by Trapper John, M.D. Prescription for a pleasant evening. It is not a pleasant afternoon with this crowd of about 49,000 at Metropolitan Stadium, but for this big man, it's another nice day. Carmichael, 5 passes, 95 yards, and a touchdown.
And I think he caught them all this last quarter, all in the 4th quarter. You know, the Eagles had a good first-round pick in Ronell Young, who's playing and he's going to help them. And I think they also had a good second-round pick in Harrington. So if you can get 2 good guys out of your draft in the first round, you can't make mistakes on those early round picks. Both these guys are good athletes and seem to be solid citizens.
So the Eagles with Tony Franklin kicking off. Deep again is A.D. Payton. He has Doug Pascal on his right and Robert Miller on his left. And Franklin kicking short, which means Payton can at least get out of the end zone and start from his 3. To the 20. Spun and dropped at the 25. Brown, number 97, hit him and dropped him. On the sidelines, a right ankle getting some tape. And we'll see now as they spot the ball at the Viking 26. That was Petey Perot getting his ankle mended. 1st and 10. Now Steve Dills getting a chance, dumps it off to Ted Brown. Brown to the 30, to the 35, submarined at about the 38-yard line. To repeat now, 42-7 in favor of the Eagles. The worst loss in Viking history. You have to go back to 1963. When St. Louis beat him 56-14, a spread of 42 points. Steve Dills had 1 play last year, a handoff coming out of a fake punt formation against New England. So he's going to get a little work today. 2nd year out of Stanford. Dills getting it off, and it's to Ricky Young, and he goes out of bounds at the 44-yard line. That's where they'll say he stepped out.
Well, the Eagles are dropping deep, giving them a cushion to throw the short passes and not allowing them to get anything downfield. I would imagine that Bud's thinking the game is lost, and why take a chance with Kramer? He's their starting quarterback, get him banged up.
And to get Dills a little work, as we said, only 1 play all of last year. And this is a kid who was a backup to Guy Benjamin at Stanford. And in his senior year, he rolled up 2,943 yards, including 22 touchdown passes. So the 4th-round draft choice, I guess he feels it's about time he saw a little action besides holding for points.
Well, you
Steve Dills.
Number 66 on the defense. 1st down.
They have a 3rd quarterback or 2nd quarterback, whatever you want to call him, Mike Livingston. I've always liked Mike. I think he's a good quarterback. I believe he can help this ball club if they need him.
Well, Dills in his 2nd year. Livingston has had 13 years in the NFL. 1st and 10 on the Viking 43. Ricky Young is a wide receiver, and Terry LeCount was in a slot. Dills is going to dump it to Brown, and right there to hammer him easily, LeMaster and Robinson. And there's a flag on the play.
This is the way you like to play defense. With a big lead, rush the passer. You can take chances. You know, take a chance for an interception. You can't go wrong. It's a lot of fun playing like this on defense.
On the ground here, most people in Minnesota are unhappy, but we have a couple of hot air balloonists kind of sailing over the stadium. 42-7 Eagles. And here's the call on that last play.
Holding before the pass was thrown. Number 46 on the defense. It's a first down.
That's Herman Edwards. So 1st and 10. And all together, let's sing Around the World in 80 Days. 1st and 10 on the 48. Vikings slot right. Both backs release. Dills to the left side to Sammy White at midfield, trying to juke his man, Roynell Young, but the rookie stayed with him and dropped him at about the 47.
Well, Dills is staying with a short game. Everything is 5, 6, 7 yards, which should give him enough time to throw and not be sacked.
We have 10 minutes and 15 seconds left in this game, and you have to put quotes around the word game. 42-7 Eagles. Steve Dills sending Kevin Miller wide right. Sammy White as a slot. Joe Sensor shaken loose as a tight end goes left, and Ted Brown runs into people. Among others, Bill Berge, Carl Hairston.
You know, Vin, we always talk about field position, and we keep charts. The Eagles scored 4 times this half, 46-yard line, 42, 45, and 45. Now, that's good offensive football when you get field position and take advantage of it. It's like having a runner on third and bringing them home.
The biggest play of the game was an interception in the first half by Bernard Wilson, when the Vikings were driving for what apparently was going to be a tying touchdown. Yes. And after that, the Vikings have not been heard from. But they will be. So for Dick Vermeil and a fine Eagle ball club that came close, they tell us in and around Philadelphia, they feel they're heading for the Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it.
Well, this is a better Eagle team than last year's, and last year's team won 11 games.
For Minnesota with 10 new ball players, so you have to say rebuilding.
And injuries to key guys like Ron Yeri. You can't lose people like that.
So the Vikes have it 4th and about 2 on the Eagle 44-yard line with Steve Dills at the control, replacing Tommy Kramer. Dills taking his drop and then releases to Ricky Young, and that should be enough for the first down. So Ricky Young making the reception with 8 minutes and 18 seconds left to go in the game.
Well, 4th and 2, he had the weak half go out and run a stop pattern, which is a good play for pick up the first down.
As Ahmad Rashad and Doug Pascal on the sidelines. You know, talking about Ricky Young a moment ago, we were mentioning that Eddie Payton is the older brother of Walter Payton. Ricky Young is Walter Payton's uncle. Yeah, that's right. 1st and 10. Dump off to Ted Brown, and he is nailed by Reggie Wilkes and dropped in his tracks. Reggie Wilkes out of Georgia Tech. Tell you what, a great job for Wilkes, number 51. If you're a linebacker, you know what he does? He wants to go to medical school, so he worked in the emergency room of a Georgia hospital.
Well, that's good experience.
Especially for a linebacker.
And Dills is 4 for 4. All dump-offs to the backs. 19 yards and 4 for 4.
So 2nd and about 1. The ball on the Eagle 43, 42-7 Philadelphia. Sammy White right, Terry LeCount goes left for the Vikes. Sensor is a tight end on the left side. And Dills goes down. Brown and Humphrey got him, but Humphrey had the initial hit. He's really given that Minnesota quarterback a bad time all day.
Well, Claude likes this situation. They're in a 4-man line. They ran a stunt, and the Vikings didn't pick it up, and that allowed for the sack. When he's in that 34 defense, he's head on the tackle, and it inhibits his rushing.
He is playing because Dennis Harrison is out with a kidney injury. Harrison at 6'8" and 280. The boy they figured was going to put all the pressure out, and boy, has Claude Humphrey picked up for him. Dill's out of the shotgun now. And he goes down the middle, juggled and dropped. John Sciarra trying to pick it off in the air. Terry LeCount couldn't hold on to it because Reggie Wilkes just belted him.
Yes, he did. He separated him from the ball. He had the football, and Reggie Wilkes hit him high, jarred it loose.
So for Steve Dills, not much of a day, and John Sciarra will go back to try and handle a punt.
Excuse me, Vinny. I think the best athletes on the defense are the linebackers on the Eagles. They have tremendous linebackers.
Greg Coleman kicking it deep to Sciarra, and John will take it at the 10. Robert Miller is down there, but he got away from him, but 3 more Vikings came down to get him. Studwell, one of the first. So with 6 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game, look at that, 42-7.
As low as $22.88 at the home of the diehard.
Hey friends, most stations will see one of the following games when this game is over. Dallas versus Denver, Washington versus the Giants, or St. Louis versus San Francisco. Check local listings for the game in your area. 1st and 10 on the Eagle 11-yard line. And Joe Pisarcik is now the quarterback. He has Giamona and Harrington, the running back. Charlie Smith in motion to the right. Pisarcik giving to Giamona, and he breaks out quickly across the 15.
You know, then we were talking during the timeout. The Eagles haven't had many games like this. And of course, neither have the Vikings. So this is an unusual game where the Eagles blow out a team like the Vikings. The Eagles have rebuilt without draft choices. They've made some good trades. Now this quarterback, number 9, Joe Pisarcik, I think he's got a lot of ability.
Well, the Eagles have it 2nd and 3 out to the 18-yard line. Smith goes right. Fitzke goes left. Harrington, and he ran into Studwell short of the 20-yard line. By the way, Doug Martin, who was signed by the Vikings, number 79, he was their first-round draft choice, and he wasn't ready yet. He has been working out 2-a-day drills, and he is finally playing.
But you don't get in shape on those 2-a-day drills. You get in shape by playing. So this is an opportunity to take a look at him and get him in shape. He's a good athlete. He can rush the passer. He's quick. We might watch him. Number 79.
So Joe Pisarcik, the veteran with the Giants, the backup quarterback to Ron Jaworski, and he will call time. We have 4 minutes and 51 seconds left in the game.
And that's something I used to hate to see our team do, is waste a timeout so that you don't have a timeout during the 2-minute period.
Did you see Vermeil at time hold his hands out to Pisarcik as if say, what are you calling a timeout for? Joe was a free agent signed by the Giants in 1977. He had a bad shoulder, but last year, ironically, he had 2 touchdowns against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So nothing like impressing the club. They go get you. And you know, in 1978, before he hurt his shoulder, he could throw. He threw for 12 touchdowns with a team that was not very good.
He's tough. And he could be the best backup quarterback they've had since Dick Vermeil's been there.
And wasn't it Pisarcik who dropped the handoff from center, and Herman Edwards, who is now a teammate, picked it up and ran for a touchdown to beat the Giants? That was one of the biggest surprises and one of the biggest crushing defeats we've seen a team suffer in many years. That was 31 seconds left back in 1978.
All they had to do was fall on the ball.
Right. Anyway, it's 3rd and 2 on the 19, 4:51 left, 42-7 Eagles. Giamona, the deep man behind Harrington, out of the eye. And Louis will have the ball. Harrington blocking on him, and Giamona carries it across the 20, and there's a flag on the play. Sanders and McNeil hit him.
You know, that toss was just a little bit behind Giamona. Just enough to slow him up.
So we'll see the reason for the flags in a moment. It looks like holding against the Eagles. Holding on a running play.
That's unusual.
4 minutes and 45 seconds left, and then this will be mercifully concluded. That's about the only thing you can say about this game now.
this is the type of game when you have one where both sides, both coaches and players are
Number 61 on the offense, still third down.
just hoping that nobody gets banged up, get the game over, the game's decided, no injuries.
Yeah, right. The holding was on the center, Mark Slater, who came up after snapping. So Pisarcik behind Slater now on a 3rd and 12 from the 9. And Joe going deep. And he has got his man Charlie Smith, and he's down at the 46-yard line. Nate Wright made the tackle. Evidently a flag on the play.
Nice throw by Joe. They've been beating the corners deep all day, Vin, going out and up, splitting the defense.
A long day. If you are Bud Grant and you're down 42-7 with 4 minutes left, and you see Pisarcik complete a pass that covered that much ground, would you be a little ticked off? Come on, honestly. Would you say, hey, what is he trying to do? Beat me over the head?
I've never been in that situation.
Oh, okay. That's right. You've never been in that situation. Well, Bud hasn't been in this situation. Second man, Giamona, and he is stacked up. Nord hit him head on and dropped him.
But you know, to further answer your question, you put in guys like Harrington and Pisarcik and these guys that haven't played, and it's pretty hard to tell them, don't throw the ball, run the ball.
Would you really infer that Pisarcik cranked up from his own 9-yard line and completed a pass to the Viking 45?
I think he's just getting out of the hole to give his offense field position. I don't think he's necessarily trying to run up the score there.
So with 4 minutes left in the game, 2nd and 8 for the Eagles. Ball just shy of the Viking 43. Fitzke left, Smith right, and a lot of movement. It's raining flags down there.
Well,
I think Woody Peebles came up out of his stance, number 69, and he was nailed for it.
And as you know, it's tough to keep your concentration when you have a lead like this. There's Vermeil.
Look at him. He's angry. Let's go. He's snarling.
He's right. He doesn't want him to let down. He wants them to keep concentrated.
Would you think this man is winning by 35 points?
Number 69.
Doesn't look like it.
Still 2nd down.
That's funny. If you took a shot at Vermeil and then took a shot at Grant and didn't know the score, would guess the winning coach wrong.
That's Kenny Ivins standing next to him. Used to play center for me with the Rams. He's one of his offensive line coaches.
2nd and 13 from the Viking 48. Harrington on a wing. On a draw to Perry Harrington, and he got away from Studwell, and finally Brune had him. He got away from Brune, and finally Keith Nord brought him down. Before he picked up, he got to the 35 and a 1st down.
He showed some running ability there.
Again, we'll repeat, this is a fella who came within 34 yards of tying Walter Payton's records at Jackson State. They tell us he runs a 40 and 4.4.
I've never seen a guy. I've never timed a guy that ran 4 and 4. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
I wonder. I was just going to ask you, do you believe those things when, when a press guy, they'll say this fella runs it in 4.4?
I'd like to know what type of shoes he's wearing and what the surface is.
Yeah, right. And with the wind. 1st and 10 on the 36. Pitch back to Giamona. Harrington blocking on Nate Wright, and Giamona gets across the 35 to about the 32. And we have 2:46 left in the game. The Eagles scored 14 points in the 1st quarter. The big play, Wilbert Montgomery's 72-yard touchdown. The Vikings scored once in the 2nd quarter and had a shot down on the Eagle 12, only to be intercepted by Bernard Wilson. That's as close as the Vikes came to the game. The 3rd quarter, all Philadelphia, and the same for the 4th.
They just brought in number 37, Canfield. When they bring him in, Ben, they usually use him.
2nd and 8 on the 33. He's being used, and Dave Roller had him at the ankles as he went forward.
He's probably their fastest back, and he's also strong.
Well, if he's their fastest back, then I don't believe Harrington ran for 40 and 4.4. We'll have to talk to Jimmy Gallagher about that. Timeout down on the field. We have come to the 2-minute warning. The Philadelphia Eagles 42 and the Minnesota Vikings 7. Dick Vermeil and his Philadelphia Eagles firmly in control. With only 2 minutes left in the game, it is 42-7 Philadelphia. And just to add to that, the Eagles have the ball, 3rd and 7, and the ball is spotted on the Viking 32-yard line. Both starting quarterbacks have come out of it, Tommy Kramer and Ron Jaworski. We've seen Steve Dills for the Purple, and we're looking at Joe Pisarcik for the Eagles. Camfield and Harrington are the running backs. And it will be Billy Camfield. And he's inside the 30 down to about the 27-yard line. So he needed 7 and he got about 5.
Blair on the tackle.
And they got 4th and a long one.
1:40 left in the game. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the good folks have left Bloomington, except this man and that man. But this crowd is down to at least half.
That's Marion Campbell we just saw on the sidelines. He's the defensive coordinator of this ball club.
Former head coach down in Atlanta.
Yes.
4th and 1 on the 26. Fitzke is in a slot left inside Charlie Smith. They pitch back to Billy Camfield. He's got the first down, and he goes out of bounds at the 20. Nord hanging on to bring him down. And he also stops the clock as he rolls out of bounds. If he got out,
no, he
didn't. So he didn't quite get out. So 55 seconds and counting. Eagles 42, Vikings 7. Our executive producer, Charles H. Milton III. Our producer, Perry Smith. And our director, Tony Verna. Along with all of the other fellows who worked so hard to bring it to you, bringing you a rather overwhelming Philadelphia Eagle victory over the Minnesota Vikings, 42-7. The Vikings trying to do it strictly passing, and they couldn't cut it. Meanwhile, the Eagles with a much better attack, George.
A balanced attack, running, passing, and a very tough defense against a Viking team that had strictly passing.
So it is down to 7 seconds, and they will carry Dick Vermeil off the field. Charlie Johnson has him, along with Harold Carmichael. That's why he's sitting lopsided.
Yeah.
Or is that Carmichael? No. That would be Claude Humphrey, who did such a great job. I thought that was 17 at first. It's 87.
Well, they broke a jinx.
They sure did. After 7 consecutive losses to Minnesota. Philadelphia had never beaten Minnesota. They sure did beat them today. The NFL on CBS will continue after this word from your local station.